Good morning and welcome to UL, and a personal thank you to each and every one of you for coming out here today. I truly believe we're going to look back at this as the catalytic event that helped to make the world a safer place. I'm Barb Guthrie, UL's Vice President and Chief Public Safety Officer. It is our pleasure and our honor to host this press conference today in conjunction with Kids in Danger and the Shanes Foundation, highlighting the dangers of furniture tip-overs. UL's business and mission are focused on working for a safer world. We are truly grateful for this opportunity today to advance public safety. UL has a long history in promoting safety education in the home and for our children. We proudly stand alongside Kids in Danger and Shanes Foundation in their effort to educate parents and to educate the public on the dangers of furniture tip-overs. As an independent, science-based organization, we are humbled to have the opportunity to provide the laboratory and the expertise necessary to do this critically important work. We have many people here today from UL's Furniture Division, along with honored, respected, and valued guests. And with that, it is my great pleasure to introduce a longtime friend and a partner as we all together work for a safer world. Nancy Cowles, Executive Director of Kids in Danger.
Bring up our other speakers and people who were involved with it. First, just let me thank UL, both for today, this wonderful setting for a press conference. If you've seen our office, you'll understand that this is quite a wonderful setting for us and allows us to showcase the furniture and even show you some of the testing later, but also for the testing that they did. They truly are a partner in safety, and we can count on them to use their decades of expertise to improve the safety of furniture and other products. So thank you. Our new report today, that we're releasing today, reveals significant risk to children from dressers and chests that tip over, and finds that current safety standards, which are voluntary, are dangerously inadequate. We looked at injury statistics and conducted independent stability tests on furniture commonly found in children's rooms. Based on our data analysis and the test results, KID and Shanes Foundation have strong recommendations today for furniture safety. Before I go into the findings of the report, I want to introduce Lisa Seifert. Lisa is the founder of Shanes Foundation. Shane, and she'll tell you a little bit about Shane. This is really the impetus both for kids' involvement in this issue, for her complete organization, and what we hope will be Shane's legacy, and that is safer furniture in children's bedrooms in the future. Lisa.
Thank you, Nancy. I am Lisa Seifert, founder of Shanes Foundation. I am a mom. I have a daughter who's 10 years old, and I have a son, Shane. He is 2, forever. He passed away when his dresser fell on him. Today, on this very day, I should be at home celebrating his half birthday. He would be 7 and a half today. We should be making him a cake. We should be planning his special dinner. But I'm here. Instead, I'm here in Shane's voice. I'm here sharing data from our groundbreaking project. This report is a significant step proving the current safety standard is inadequate. It indicates a dire need for change in the following ways. First, manufacturers should take responsibility and design safer furniture for increased stability. Second, clearly the results prove a need for a stronger standard. The CPSC needs to start enforcing an updated, strengthened mandatory standard. Third, the ASTM should add the additional testing to the standard to replicate real-life usage due to the continued rate of injury. Finally, I highly recommend CPSC continue the Anchor It campaign. We need to bring this overlooked danger to the attention of families. We need to reach families so that they may take a look at their furniture with a new eye. Families need to take action and anchor their furniture and televisions. These are necessary steps to keep children safe. I am here because safer furniture can be in all of our homes if we make these changes. Our babies can be safe. The results of this project can be the catalyst for change that will protect your children, your grandchildren, and hopefully all children in the future. We can prevent them the fate that befell Megan, Charlie, Katie, Shane, and so many more. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And the names that Lisa just read, along with her son Shane, some of their stories are in the report. So I'm going to start now going through some of the data from the report and the findings, but I just want to point out that I am just touching the surface, both of what's in the report, and the report is just touching the surface of the data that's out there that we need to continue to look at to make good quality safety changes for furniture. A child dies from tipping furniture, appliances, or TVs every 2 weeks. KID analyzed incident data on tip-overs involving dressers and chests from the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, the CPSC. We found that years of work on the voluntary industry standard have resulted in no significant improvements. The data still shows injuries and deaths. Our organizations hope this new information will provide the necessary impetus to design, test, and sell safer furniture. Our findings of the data analysis include that 2-year-olds are the age group most affected by tip-overs and are most likely to be killed. This despite the fact that the current voluntary standard tests up to a 50-pound weight, which is well over a 2-year-old's weight. Children aged 2 to 5 accounted for 77% of the total incidents. The age range of children injured is wider than those who are killed. In other words, children continue to be injured at high rates up through early elementary school ages, while the deaths are, as we said, mostly in the 2 to 5-year-old preschool range. In the data that we looked at, fatalities accounted for 12% of the total incidents. The rest were injuries. Head injuries were the most common category of injury, and almost all of those head injuries were related to a television on top of the furniture that, when the furniture tipped, fell and increased the injury rate impact on the child. In addition to the data review, we pulled a sample of 19 dressers and chests and put them through stability performance testing. We commissioned laboratory testing of furniture that was marketed for children's room from the UL Furniture Center for Excellence in Holland, Michigan, and which does laboratory testing of furniture. The UL laboratory technicians conducted testing based on the current ASTM International Safety Standard, which is voluntary, followed by new testing protocols developed by KID. The new tests were designed to be more representative of real-world scenarios, including foreseeable use of furniture by children and the stability of furniture that contains clothing, as much of it in our homes do. The additional testing was also to see what additional margin of safety some units may possess over the current voluntary standard. The results heightened concerns already underscored by the recent product recalls affecting millions of dressers. The testing results point to widespread noncompliance with the standards, with the voluntary standards, as well as to additional typical use scenarios that those standards do not address. So here's the test results. Only 9 of the 19 units passed performance tests based on the current tip-over safety standard ASTM F2057, so fewer than half. Only 2 units passed all of our testing, including the additional testing protocols that we added. The weight of a television of any type placed on top of a unit did not decrease the stability of the furniture. In other words, while TVs are often involved in very serious injuries and deaths and increase the likelihood a child will be injured, they do not increase the likelihood the furniture will tip. It is the furniture itself which is tipping, and why we need to focus on the stability of furniture to protect children from TV tip-overs as well as from furniture tip-overs. Also, another new finding was that furniture placed on carpet is less stable than furniture placed on hard floors, but the testing and the voluntary standard is all done on hard floors. We did find, however, that many units remain stable when we put more than 70 pounds of weight on them. The current test asks for 50 pounds of weight in the weighted test. But others tipped under less than half that weight. Based on the findings of the data and testing, we're going to recommend a two-pronged approach. One, as Lisa mentioned, we want to continue to increase consumer awareness of the danger of furniture tip-overs and the knowledge of the actions parents and families need to take to keep their children safe. We also then want to improve furniture stability by strengthening standards, making those standards enforceable and mandatory, and promoting changes in furniture design. Better design, stronger standards, and enforcement of the standards are needed. We urge furniture manufacturers to look for design solutions to unstable furniture. The top performing units in our testing had innovative designs, including a wider base, interlocking drawers, and a heavier back panel that changed the center of gravity of the unit. In addition to this study, KIT has also been working with engineering students both at Northwestern and University of Michigan to look for some innovative design solutions. We have one sample over here you can look at afterwards where the students took a typical dresser sold on the mass market, changed the design to make it on a slant, as you can see, meaning that there is no way that dresser is going to tip because its center of gravity will always be back farther than the front. I'm going to talk a little bit more, but first I'm going to turn to Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky. And Jan has been a leader in Congress on children's safety. She was author of Danny's Law, which was part of the 2008 Consumer Product Safety Improvement Act. And she's also been following and working on this issue very closely. And so we invited her here today to comment.
Thank you so much, Nancy, Lisa, and Kids in Danger and Shane's Foundation. As a mom and as a grandmother, I particularly want to thank Lisa for her courage in standing up to protect other families from the tragedy that her family faced. And isn't it just a shame that children need to die before we get to the kind of standards and safety measures that will protect all children's lives. But we do have an opportunity now to make sure that no other children die by changing those standards. I want to thank UL for the incredible research that was done, and also the organizations of Kids in Danger and also Shane's Foundation for getting federal dollars that made that research possible. I'm very happy about that. All parents really deserve peace of mind that their furniture in their homes is not going to injure or kill their children. Children climb on furniture. Oh, I have an adorable picture of my son when he was a little guy standing up and pulling out all kinds of things from drawers. Little did I realize that that could have been a tragic situation. Too many families have suffered from a toddler climbing on a chest of drawers. When someone's back is turned, it could be just for a second, could become a tragic accident. Between 2000 and 2011, there were over 200 deaths related to furniture tip-overs. That doesn't count appliances or TVs, furniture tip-overs. And as today's report shows, 2-year-olds are most at risk of tip-over accidents, including fatal accidents. In fact, a recent Ikea mall dresser recall came after toddlers were killed by falling dressers in Pennsylvania, Washington State, and Minnesota. Parents can take steps to improve furniture safety, such as anchoring furniture to the wall, but wall anchoring is not enough. And let's be clear, some places, because landlord standards, it is not even an option. They say you can't stick things into the wall. So we have to have the standards for furniture furniture that's not necessarily attached to a wall. We need to improve furniture's inherent stability, and that requires stronger safety standards. I was proud to work with KID and other safety advocates as we pressed Ikea and the Consumer Product Safety Commission to recall dangerous dressers that have killed toddlers and injured others. The Ikea recall is one of the largest recalls in history. Under this recall, consumers are eligible to have their furniture anchored or receive a full refund. If you have an Ikea dresser, I urge you to check the advisory on the CPSC website to find out your model, if your model has been recalled, and then you should get the repair or refund that you deserve. Parents, that's a warning to you. Check the model that you have. The Ikea recall was a victory for safety, but as this report found, other furniture also presents safety risks, and that's why we need a strong mandatory standard. Today's voluntary furniture stability standard is simply insufficient, and still many popular models of dressers fail to meet it. In June, I introduced a bill with Senator Casey of Pennsylvania called the Stop Tip-Overs of Unstable Risky Dressers on Youth Act. That's an acronym for STURDY, an easier way to call it, STURDY Act. My bill would create a mandatory standard for dressers and other clothing storage units. And as I push for development of strong mandatory standards, I will be asking the furniture industry and the Consumer Product Safety Commission to look at this test and conclusions in this study. And finally, I want to repeat some key safety tips. 1, when possible, anchor your furniture to the wall. 2, check the stability of your furniture when you purchase it. Remember that safe furniture doesn't necessarily mean expensive. 3, when you see or experience a safety risk, please report it to safeproducts.gov. We have a shared responsibility. We have this laboratory, we have the advocacy groups, we have the government agencies, we have members of Congress that have a shared responsibility to keep our children safe. Parents can take these steps. Meanwhile, I'll be urging the CPSC and the furniture industry to make products safer in the first place and working to pass the STURDY Act. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. And I would just like to finish up this portion by talking a little bit about what we want to see in our, sorry, while I find my paper, in the standard. So we have a voluntary industry standard now. It has virtually not changed in decades. We are looking for strong changes based on our research and hopefully on additional research the Consumer Product Safety Commission or furniture makers might do. This is what we want to see in a strong standard. That all the tests should be conducted on carpeting, which is often found in children's bedrooms, to correlate more closely to real-world use and the worst-case scenario for tip-overs. They should increase the weight used in testing to protect children up to and including age 5 by using the most recent anthropometric data and not relying, again, on decades-old numbers that don't adequately protect children. Since most dressers and chests in homes will be in use and not empty, add a requirement that furniture should remain stable when all the drawers are filled to capacity with clothing, as we did in our testing. We did a test called the progressive drawer opening test that we think better exemplifies real-world use. The child might be standing on the bottom drawer, which is the 50-pound weight that we test with, but in all likelihood there are other drawers open, either one that they're holding on to, or even they've had them all open and then is trying to climb up to see into one. Progressive drawer opening weights that one drawer and opens the other drawer. Dressers should be able to handle that, or, as one of our samples I'll show you has, they should have interlocking drawers that don't allow you to open more than one drawer at a time that will add that extra layer of protection. And finally, they should eliminate the height restriction in the standard. Right now, the standard said it pertains to clothing storage units 30 inches or higher, over 30 inches. We tested one unit that was 28 inches high. We saw another death involving a 30-inch dresser, which would have been right under the scope of the standard. They are sold for dressers for children's room. They are unstable, and they should also be tested to the standard. We urge the ASTM, which is the standard-setting body, Subcommittee on Furniture Safety, to review our report data carefully, to strengthen F2057, their standard, in accordance with the findings that we have detailed here today. At the same time, given the continued rate of injury, the non-compliance with the voluntary standard by manufacturers, and the industry's continuing resistance to making substantive changes to the standard, Kidd and Shane's Foundation urges the CPSC to begin a rulemaking process to make a strengthened standard mandatory and enforceable. So that is our report. As I said, there are many more findings in the report. In the report that we have, you'll find a page in there that has the detailed test findings from every unit, and we urge you to look that over carefully. I'm happy to answer questions. We also want to do some demonstrations, but I understand that requires a little bit of a different setup. So first, I'll just see if there's any questions now before we move over to the demonstrations.
Have you reached out to the Consumer Product Safety Commission and said, we want this, this, and this change, and what is their response been?
We have presented the report to the Consumer Product Safety Commission. Findings, we've presented the findings. Many of the things we've asked for, we've been asking for within the committee, so they're aware of them in the past, and they have assured us, as has the ASTM staff member in charge of the committee, that they will look at our report seriously and see what it indicates in terms of further action that they should take. Go ahead.
How long has this project been underway?
This project has been a year-long project. We've done most of the testing this calendar year up in Holland, but we've been starting the research before that, doing that. One of the things you'll notice is we do have an Ikea dresser that has been recalled over there. It was not recalled at the time that we purchased it. It is now. And I will echo Congresswoman Schakowsky's statement that if you have an Ikea dresser, I would not even go for the repair. I would demand a refund. Not only that, but Ikea will come to your house and take your dresser away. You don't even have to get back to Ikea, which I know is not always the easiest thing for everyone to do. So I urge you, if you have any of these dressers that have been recalled, to please participate in the recall. If your dresser has ever tipped, even slightly, with a child and you have young children, please report it to saferproducts.gov, because what we are missing in this data are incidents that don't involve injury. And I think those happen every day. Luckily, the parent is there, the child isn't injured, the dresser hits the bed instead of the child because it's a small room. But those incidents could just as easily have been an injury or fatality, and are just important to consider when we're trying to reduce the rate of injury with these products.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Does this just apply to children's dressers?
This does not just apply to children's dressers, although our parameters, it does just apply to clothing storage, so dressers and chests. There's a distinction in the industry. We outlined in the report. Chests are taller, dressers are shorter and often wider. So it does just apply to dressers, and we particularly looked for products marketed for a children's bedroom. Most of the incidents, close to 80% of the incidents, happen in the child's own bedroom with dressers, and so that's why we focused on that. We also think some of these dressers, the dresser that killed Lisa's son, was sold with a crib. It was sold intended for use for a child's room, and yet tipped over under the weight of a 2-year-old, which just seems inexcusable to us. So that's where we're starting, with dressers that we think would be likely to be found in a child's room, but obviously the accident could happen anywhere, and so we would urge all furniture to look for some of the innovative designs in stability that we found in a few of the products.
When you say you're calling on, the standard setting body to do all these things, to make it stricter,
certainly want to see the standard enforceable. So as we see now, we have a voluntary standard. We think it's too weak, but even with that, it's not being adhered to by the industry. So we think enforcement is an important part. A model that could be used and that is somewhat similar to the legislation that Representative Schakowsky introduced is what we've done with juvenile products. So cribs, strollers, and high chairs. There's a Section 104 rule which allows the industries, the ASTM works on the standard, CPSC takes that standard and makes it mandatory, and they can also strengthen it. So most of that is happening within those juvenile products ASTM committees, a very effective process to date in terms of getting strong standards. The last thing we want, for instance, is to make this standard, which we think is way weak, just make it a mandatory standard because it might stay the standard forever. So that's not, we're looking for a standard that can evolve as we learn more. Section 104 allows that to happen, as does the language in the bill that Schakowsky and Casey have introduced.
What was your reaction when you saw the results? You said 9 of 19, 2 out of 19 passed all the standards that you had?
That's right. And so the 9 out of 19, I think we knew that there had to be furniture out there that didn't comply because the deaths we see are 2-year-olds. Almost all 2-year-olds weigh less than 50 pounds, but they've been doing the test. It seems unlikely to us that the dresser would have tipped. However, then when we added the carpeting test and we saw how that affected the testing and assumed that, you know, more children's rooms probably have carpeting than even other rooms in the house or in general, we felt that that was something that was missing from the standard. So I would say that while, because of the rate of injury and death, I can't say we were totally surprised by what we found, but we think it's good to have this concrete information that we can take both to the standard and to CPSC. Anything else? If not, we'll be demonstrating. I neglect to introduce Matt DeCock, who is the lab technician from UL's Holland lab, who did most of the testing, and we'll be doing some here for you today.
I have one quick one. I think we expressed, I'm Doug Lockard from the Furniture Division.
Yeah.
So thank you for the great work and the partnership. I think we expressed today, or you expressed, that there's a rate of about once every 2 weeks that a child dies. But I think there's also a significantly higher rate of emergency room visits as a result of the same thing. We have that statistic. We're just trying to dig it up. Do you know off the top of your head what that rate would be?
I want to say, yeah, so it's close to 3 an hour. It's on actually oh, that's a different Anchorage thing than I was going to bring. In your packet is the Anchorage flyer on the left-hand side from the CPSC, and I think it's on there. I want to say it's close to 30,000
Okay, thank you.
a year.
3 per hour, 71.
Thank you. I think that's an important statistic to
Yes.
share as we're talking about.
And that's
total
part of the
impact.
reason for our data research, why we did look not just at death, but at injuries. And as I said, I would love to have that incident data, which is why I encourage people to report to saferproducts.gov, because, you know, every dresser that starts to tip and is stopped is really, it's just luck that that wasn't also an injury or death. And so we need to know not just how many times is the parent there to stop it, and so it doesn't happen, but how many times is furniture tipping over. And I think that really illustrates why we need something like a stronger standard. Okay? So we'll move over here. I don't know what we want to do with mics, or if you can hear me.
I think we need to do these one. I'll just wait. Because I can't do that.
I'll probably be okay. Yeah, we can't wear six mics. Okay, I'm just gonna, yeah, I can just talk through it quickly, and then we can, at the end, I'm happy to stay as long as it takes to get more. So I'm going to start just by talking about some of the good things that we found with the products. So these two dressers here are the two that passed all of our testing. And the most rigorous test that we did was the progressive drawer opening test that I mentioned, where you weight one drawer, but then also open all the other drawers. It seems maybe like an unlikely scenario that the child with all the other drawers open and be standing on a drawer, but that, as I said, is our most rigorous test. These two products pass that test, and in addition to the third one there that almost passed, you couldn't open all, but you could open at least one or two of those other drawers, are because they have innovative design. So this particular one here has, if I have this drawer, let's start with the bottom. I have this drawer open, and I try and open this drawer, and it has interlocking drawers, so only one drawer can be opened at a time. That eliminates the hazard that you would have these three heavy drawers filled with clothes open at the same time. That's one. The other innovation is very easy to see. They took out the bottom drawer, they made it in, which I'm sure is a feature that parents like without even knowing that it's a safer feature. But in fact, then if you look at the side of it, you can see that its base is much wider than where the dresser is above it. And so when you pull out those drawers, the center of gravity is such that it does not tip. And the third one, the gray one over here, this is one, a few that we tested were actually sold with changing table attachments, so this is definitely intended for a child's room. The back panels of most of these are a pretty thin piece of board. On this one, on the bottom of the back, they put a full, almost an inch thick piece of wood, or what is it, MDF board. So it's much heavier at the bottom of the back than others, so that it prevented it from tipping compared to other units of its size that we saw. So those are the three that we want to point out in terms of design features. Matt will now, with this one down here, just show you that it does in fact pass the current standard by doing the test that we did on all of these. So this is the prescribed weight. It's 22 25-pound blocks connected by strapping, hanging in the middle of the drawer, and you let it go. And that's a 50-pound child standing on that drawer, and that dresser is not tipping. Okay. We also then additionally, we won't do this now, but we also additionally used a gauge, force gauge, to see how much higher they could go. And what we found is many of these dressers had a pretty good margin of safety. We could go up to, we didn't go past 70 pounds, but we could go up to 70 pounds on many of them, which shows that if we were to strengthen the standard, there's dressers on the market already today that can easily pass even that strengthened standard. So now we'll move to the not so. Good. Any questions on that? Before I move on? Okay. This is one of the ones that failed the standard for the test, and I'm going to ask Don, will you just help Matt? We're not going to let this one tip over. We have one we will show you tipping over, but this one, so I want Don just to be able to catch it. So this one, when you put the 50-pound weight on it, again, sold for a children's room, it immediately tips over. There's no, I don't think there's any way that we could wonder, was it right on the edge or anything? You can see it tips pretty dramatically.
Do it once again, please.
Yep. We will crash one for you, but we want to do the one on the carpet so that we also, as I mentioned, we tested with TVs. Oftentimes the industry talks about, well, the real problem is TVs. What we found is that they do definitely increase the injury. Obviously, a heavy TV falling on a child is going to increase the injury, but they do not make the dresser any less stable. In fact, many of the dressers who could not pass that test, if you put a TV on top of it, they could pass that test, which in no means anyone should put TVs on top of dressers not intended for them, because they will be deadly if they do fall, but they're not the culprit. It's the TV furniture that's the culprit. Okay, we're going to do a couple of tests with this one. This is one of the Ikea homes that was recalled. So we will first, and this is the carpeting. We could do this on the floor. It also fails on the floor, I assure you. We show you it on the carpeting partly to protect this floor, but also because we found, as I said, that is a much more rigorous test on the carpeting. So now this, we'll see that it will and break the drawer. The other thing, you'll see one back here, in fact, you can see some of these can't even quite hold up to testing, let alone real world use. let's put the doll on it just if you want to get a picture. Yeah, we can't face the doll with the top one, so let's do the doll first. This is just to give you a visual image of, the child. You probably have that top drawer pulled down a little. You did the first test just to show you it fails even without the minimal weight of the doll. Go, steps on the drawer. The drawer broke. Other drawers will push in when they fall, or the child holding on to here will continue to pull it, and the drawer will go in. So now we're going to do it on the top drawer, and we aren't going to let it fall. I'm not sure it's going to survive that, so everyone should stand back a little, use your heavy weights, and just tell us when you're ready with the cameras, because I'm not sure we'll be able to do it more than once. Just hold it till we're ready. Is everyone ready? That's the impact that dresser falls with. Okay, that is, we can do individual demonstrations. I can show you some of the other furniture. But that, unless there are any questions, concludes the...
You want to show the design with the slant?
Sure, I can show people that too. This is the one, as I said, we have been working on this for a number of years, actually, since I met Lisa and started to work with Shane's Foundation. So we work with engineering schools, projects, giving projects. This was actually designed by freshmen.
Let's move this one.
Yeah, you might want to, they just
Send those me.
They just need to sign
Put
it.
your legs right there. You don't
You're
have to.
okay.
You're sure?
So,
Probably want to show the side.
turn it side to side, which is what shows. So students, we gave them the task of designing safer furniture for a child's room. Their professor at Northwestern University expanded and said, because this class also teaches how to be an engineer in the real world, imagine you're working for Ikea. This was before the Ikea recall or anything. So the students went out, they bought an Ikea dresser, and then they modified it. This is one of 4 modifications. And as you can see, all they did, you would not know, again, similar to the one I pointed out before, this is a safety modification that doesn't sell as safety to parents. They're not going to say, I'm going to buy this because it's safe. They're going to like the design, and they're not even going to know that it's a safer. But you can just see with the center of gravity, and again, this is a student prototype, so that there is no way that this drawer is going over, that it's going to tip because the top drawer is back here. So this is an innovative design. The company that made that with the bin is another, the interlocking drawers. There's plenty of solutions out there for manufacturers to make safe furniture. Okay, if there's no other questions, I'm happy to...
Do one more demonstration.
one more? Oh, is it going to be?
We'll do a second.
Otherwise,